Back in this country, the government wants to ban anyone in a polygamous or forced marriage from immigrating to Canada. It was one of several changes to the Immigration Act and Criminal Code proposed today, all aimed at ending what the minister in charge calls barbaric cultural practices. Ron Charles explains.
The name of Immigration Minister Chris Alexander's proposed new law was emblazoned on his lectern today, so no one could miss it.
With the Zero Tolerance for Barbaric Cultural Practices Act, we intend on sending a very clear message to anyone coming to Canada that such practices are unacceptable.
He says those unacceptable practices include forced marriage, child brides, honor killings, and polygamy. Proposals include changes to the criminal code to give judges more power to stop forced marriages and underage marriages, even allowing a judge to seize passports in order to prevent a child from being taken out of the country for a forced marriage. Lawyer Deepa Mattu has worked to stop violence against immigrant women and girls for more than a decade. She's not impressed with the bill, starting with the name.
The title in itself is problematic, like it's talking about some barbaric cultural practices, as if violence against women is something which only happens elsewhere, and violence against women is something to do with the culture.
She says dealing with forced marriage through the criminal code will only push it further underground. And as for polygamy, she notes Canada's most famous case of that involves two Mormon sects in Bountiful, BC, and has nothing to do with recent immigrants.
So to say that there are certain people who are just coming to Canada and practice polygamy and they are barbaric and these are their cultural practices, all those are very full of presumptions against certain kind of people.
But the government's efforts, especially against forced marriage, are getting support from some groups working with new immigrants.
I think it's a very good move, and we would support it, that they are doing something about it. It's been something that needed to be done for a long, long time.
The bill also proposes doing away with any defense of so-called honor killings.
Honor-based killings are nothing more than murders.
The minister says many of the changes he proposed today should have been enacted long ago. Ron Charles, CBC News, Toronto.